All right, good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to set you up for your midterm, which is ultimately going to be a rough draft of your synthesis project. But it's not going to be a full draft, but it will be a rough draft of at least chapters 1 and 2 of your synthesis project. So what you need to do in order to do this is you're going to need to come to the How to Complete a Synthesis Project folder. And the first thing you'll see is a start here using PES604 to inform your synthesis or thesis topic. Now, keep in mind, your project this semester is going to be a synthesis, but this class overall will prepare you to do either a synthesis or a thesis. So you want to make sure that you read through all of this because it will set you up to be successful. Now, as I've mentioned in week 2, this topic is not meant to be your thesis or your synthesis project for graduation. We're only using these pieces to learn how to understand the pieces of the different parts of a research article as well as a research project. And so you'll see that an article generally covers, right here we've got the introduction, review of literature, methods, results, and discussions. However, for the purpose of our class, our synthesis, we're only going to be focusing on the introduction, the methods, and the literature review in that order. So it's slightly different than a research article. Now, if you decide that you really love your topic, you are more than welcome to carry that topic on throughout your time here at Brockport, and I would even suggest that you do that so long as you can revise it and refine it as you go, because it will ultimately make your job easier once you finish. But those of you who are in the classroom now, I would warn against that, because I would hope that you use each semester and each class to broaden your understanding on teaching as a whole. For instance, this semester you might be looking at the socioeconomic factors of your students and how those play into the readiness to learn. Next semester you might expand that to include classroom and behavior management strategies to help you. And so that could tie back to the lower SES group, but it's not going to be the sole focus. So by the time you leave Brockport, hopefully you'll have a broad understanding of numerous topics and have a little more in-depth understanding than you would if you were just going through an undergraduate program, to where we just scratch the surface and give you enough strategies to get by. So yes, this will help you write a thesis. Hey, burning question number 3, should I write a synthesis or a thesis? This can only be answered by you. So, I know that a lot of you might be on Dr. Kozub's grant. Some of you might be working for Dr. Lieberman, and your schedules are packed. Others are teaching and coaching full-time and planning weddings and things like that. So it's ultimately going to be up to you, and so I'm just going to put that out there, that you seriously have to consider your time, because you don't want to get into doing a thesis and then have it take you a long time to get it done. So really consider that. We've already kind of gotten through the topics and worked through the topics. So if you're still needing that, I would definitely come back to this. Now, as far as an introduction to research, when you get to your synthesis 798, you will have a synthesis advisor or a thesis advisor. And you need to understand that they might do things differently than what you're learning how to do now. You've done a brief annotated bibliography. Some advisors have all of their synthesis students do an exhaustive annotated bibliography. Others are okay with just the article grid. Some say you're going to do both. So regardless, you need to make sure that you are working to be able to and to be flexible enough to be able to handle any different requirements that your professors might have on you. But we try to take a very broad approach to this class so that you're prepared to tackle it either way. Now, your final exam ultimately is going to be 2 abstracts, research abstracts that you'll complete, and with the expectation that they'll be completed to the requirements for publication. Now, submitting the abstracts for publication is not a requirement for the class, but I have had a couple of students submit their abstracts to JOPERD, and one of them had ultimately got accepted for publication, which is really cool. And those of you who might be considering a thesis, that's important because you've got to be able to go through your graduate program and demonstrate that you can write, that you can be published, that you can conduct research. And so if you're thinking you might want to go on to a doctoral program eventually down the road, 5, 10, 12 years down the road, that's something that you may be asked